Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode this many
Is that
of the podcast.
Is that even correct? You showed me a certain number of digits just now. I don't know if that's the actual number that this would be.
I'm pretty sure this is 7.
You held up 6.
Anyway, so the first game that we are going to be ranking today
is Mort
The Chicken for the PS1.
Which I'm still confused by because the box art says Mort the Chicken, but the starting page just says Mort. So that's
I
weird.
feel like you're asking a certain level of quality from Mort the Chicken that just isn't there. They spent all their money on writing.
Ooh! My man's got opinions out the gate. Let me hear it. Preach it.
Oh, we're jumping right into it. Okay. So, full disclosure. You played Mort the Chicken in a live stream for us yesterday or 2 days ago for people listening to this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, about that.
And then I played I think a 15-minute episode, but I also had played it on my own when I bought the game. So I probably made it about 3-4 levels in.
Right.
Where you made it, I think
6 or 7.
Something like that, yeah. How'd you feel about it?
Oh, Mr. They spent all the money on the writing. No, your opinion first, please. I must know.
Fair. It's garbage. It's jank. It's just absolute shit. But anyone that knows me knows I love, my guilty pleasure is Gen 5 3D platformers, whether they're good or bad.
Now, if I ask your girlfriend if that's what she'd call your guilty pleasure, would she agree with you?
Maybe.
Maybe not.
I'd have to ask her before you did. But, yeah, no, it didn't control well. It ended up just being a weird puzzle game in a way that I wasn't expecting it to be when I got it. Because I knew nothing about this game.
No.
I literally walked into our local game store, saw it, I was perusing the PS1 games.
As one does.
And I pulled it out, and I looked, and I'm like, this just looks awful. I need this.
I really thought you were saying, this looks awful. I need Justin to play this. Because that's usually your response to bad games.
And all that being said, and they had it way undervalued.
Yeah.
This is a $30 game. I think I got it for $10, $12 out the door, right?
Which is awesome.
CIB, this is not a $30 game. Let me be very fucking clear. Yeah. This is not a $30 game.
By your estimation.
This is a $10 game. I feel good paying $10 for this game.
I don't feel great.
But I guess let's get a little more into it. The controls are loose as fuck.
Yes. I will.
I feel like you're almost moving the chicken's head and then the body follows where that's going.
Okay.
Or it's the head, it's weird. I'll try and pull up a clip, even though in 2 weeks when I go to edit this video, I'll be like, why did I say I wanted to pull up a clip?
You do that.
I do it every single fucking time. But yeah, no, I don't think it's a tight control. I don't think it's a particularly engaging game to play. But where it shines is the humor.
Yes.
That game, I want to say it came out in the mid to late 90s, which obviously with the PS1.
It came out in 2000, if I remember correctly.
You're right, it was 2000.
It was the year 2000.
That is some low budget, dude, it makes OG VeggieTales look like fucking Pixar. Right? There's 2 polygons. I'm convinced the reason that the cubes were the enemies, they just had one fucking...
Cubes are just easier.
They're easy to animate, right?
Yeah, especially for early computer animation, yeah.
And if you look at the fucking chickens, the news anchors in the segments, they're just a tube.
Yeah.
With, beaks on it. It's low budget as fuck, and I love it. We actually went back and we looked up some of the...
cutscenes.
The cutscenes.
Yes.
Because we don't know how to do this.
That well.
On a production level. So we couldn't figure out how to get the audio to play.
Without it picking up on the microphone.
Yeah, without echo, without getting in the way.
But yeah, no, we went back and we watched some of the cutscenes, and that definitely gave me a better idea of the style of the game.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, did you want to say your ranking first, or you want to give my opinion first?
Well, I'm more kind of talking my way through it right now and rambling while I think.
That's fair.
Let me pull up the list.
Yeah, while you do that,
Jamie.
You're calling yourself Jamie? There's already two of us here.
I'm talking. Don't worry about it.
I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about you.
As you should, because we're ranking Mort the Chicken.
I'll be honest with you, as I often am. Pretty much anytime I start a sentence, I say that phrase. Mort the Chicken for me is an experience that I want to revisit for none of the gameplay. I really would just like to see more of the cutscenes, see more of the witty humor they have there, and playing the game is not awful to me. I hear what you're saying about the controls, and I do agree to a certain extent, but I'll be honest with you, I just found a way of playing it by mostly staying in the air that alleviated most of my problems with the controls.
Yeah, it was weird me watching you during that live stream of how quickly you just took to the controls.
Yeah, I mean, well, once I figured out, you could hover by holding the jump button after you've jumped, I was like, oh, this just makes this way easier. I can avoid 90% of shit by just floating around and then getting to high places and then floating around,
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, since I guess this is technically my pick for my entry, because you bought it for me and then told me that we're going to play it, I wasn't forced at all. There was no gun put to my head. For me, this game comes in right underneath Detective Barbie, right above Battletoads.
Ooh!
I want to see more of this game. Maybe not necessarily play it, though. That's where I'm kind of like, Because that's the problem I was having when I was thinking about it, where it's like, but the gameplay's easy enough, and it's simple, and I'll be honest with you, I think I'd rather watch the cutscenes in context of the game,
right,
rather than outside of the context of the game, like watching, because there's only 17 minutes worth of cutscenes, is what I saw.
Yeah, they're and those are pre-rendered, and even those are compressed. You can see the artifacting and shit.
And with that being that few cutscenes, and we were seeing them. I mean, we went through like 3 or 4 cutscenes. That's I think almost every level.
Yeah. Now, full disclosure, we went and found a YouTube video that had all the cutscenes. Yeah. We only watched the cutscenes up to where we had played.
Right. The point I'm making is that with that few cutscenes, this game is probably really fucking short.
Dude, I've seen long plays, or not seen, but I've seen like timestamps of people who've beaten this game on YouTube. All sub 2 hours.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think if I'd kept playing the game on that live stream,
we could have finished it.
I probably could have finished it in like another hour if I'd take a guess. So yeah, no, I do want to revisit this. I would like to revisit this at some point and see if the ending is worth the humor. Because it's so crazy to me that when we were looking at this game on YouTube, looking for the cutscenes, we found a trailer for it, and in the trailer, it showed nothing from the loading screens, which were also hysterical. Right. Nothing from the cutscenes, which were witty. It just showed the chicks being kidnapped, which has almost no humor in it whatsoever, and then some gameplay, which is dumb because the gameplay is dumb. Like it's super easy and super bright and colorful and kid-like. Yeah,
well, perhaps we should say what the gameplay actually is instead of just talking about the game in the abstract.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
basically, you go to an arena. Within that arena, you have power-ups, currency, collectibles, and you have to get a certain number of baby chicks by walking up to them, like, balking or whatever the hell they call it, and then you take them back to the starting point.
Which is the well, yeah.
The well. And then, once you get a certain number, or whatever number it tells you to get, then you move on to the next level.
You have to get every chick on every level, just so you know. But yeah, that's the general gist of it. But yeah, it's not difficult at all. I'll be honest with you. The only power-up that even stood out to me as having almost the same level of charm as the cutscene was the one that fires your chicks like homing missiles.
A machine gun?
Bro, hysterical. Like why is there only one interesting and fun power-up? Why are the other ones so simple?
We don't know where the game goes.
This is true.
I would say we're about halfway if I had to guess.
Which is why I want to play more of it. Yeah. I'm very curious, actually. So yeah, for me, this is going to come in right underneath Detective Barbie, right above Battletoads, because everyone knows Battletoads is just not that good.
Now we're just being hurtful.
Now we're just lashing at each other for no reason, Justin.
Oh, wait till you see where I put it now.
Okay, where are you going to put it now?
Okay, so for me, it's somewhere in this area. I say this area knowing that people watching or listening can't see it.
I also can't see it, so
It's it's not going below black.
it's going above black.
It's going above black.
Okay.
Rule of Rose. See, Rule of Rose is the wild card here because like it's not a good game. It's an interesting game.
I mean, I think we talked about it during that podcast episode.
Yeah.
You know, it's a game that does not shine because of its gameplay loop. It shines because of its story.
And it's story. I would argue the method of storytelling less than the story itself. But we're not here to talk about Rule of Rose.
But we could be.
We do need to go back, but I digress. I would much rather play Mort than Super Mario Kart.
It's moving up on your list fast, baby.
Would I rather play it than Super Mario Brothers? No.
That's higher than I thought it was going to be.
It's got to go in between Super Mario Brothers and Mario Kart for me.
Thank God.
Because once we start hitting, see, here's my logic, right? Looking at my list and the way I have it organized, I think once you start hitting Super Mario Brothers, like Flintstones, Dinosaur Peak, once you start getting to that spot on my list, those I think are objectively good games that don't need a qualifier necessarily. Dark Watch, I know you and I vary a little bit on our opinion of it. But I think from like here up, I'm pointing at Super Mario Brothers. For people listening, up. I think those are unqualified, or what's the word I'm looking for here? Undoubtedly good games. I can call those good games. Everything below it, I think I need to be like, hey, here's some caveats if you're going to play this one.
It's an interesting way of looking at your list. My list is just
which I didn't. I'm noticing that as
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I'm not saying I organized it that way.
No. I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that you did.
I also wouldn't say we have an objectively bad game on this list yet. Barbie coming close.
Hey, whoa! We haven't given Barbie a fair shake yet. Okay,
That's why I said coming close.
Let's let Detective Barbie really detect a good game. I had nothing.
You nailed it.
I gotta load the chamber before I pull the trigger. Goddammit.
All right, so I'm throwing Mort there. I don't know what number that's going to come out to, so
yeah, I mean,
I'll figure that out by the time we edit this.
Yeah, you guys should be seeing the list now, or at some point.
And at some point, we're going to be adding so many games. I need to change how this list works. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, this is all
temporary right now.
But yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with how high I ended up on your list. And like I said, I stand by what I said during the live stream, which was I need to see what these cutscenes say and what's actually going on in them to understand whether or not I enjoy the charm of this game.
Sure.
And the cutscenes actually did have that charm I was looking for. So yeah, that's why it's so high on my list. This is a game that I would like to go back to, would like to play more of.
Sounds good to me. Let's move on to our next game. Super Mario Bros. 3.
Garbage. Just awful. I don't know.
So Super Mario Bros. 3. The reason I wanted to pick that was a follow-up to the Super Mario Brothers playthrough that we did a couple weeks back.
Yes. Were you acting like a disappointed father?
Pretty much, right? So, Mario Brothers 3. How do you feel about it?
I like it. I don't think it needs to be said too much at this point. For anyone who actually is listening to this, it's like beating a dead horse. Not really as familiar with platformers. I'm getting better. Anyone who watched that episode that we just put out earlier this week on Super Mario Bros. 3 probably would not believe me when I'm saying I'm getting better at platformers. But
you beat some levels.
If you see the journey, you'd recognize the value of the results, right? But yeah, no, I think this one's good. I don't have a huge amount of interest in going back and replaying it. I don't feel like I really need to talk about the gameplay that much because it's such an iconic game that it's a game that most people will be at least passingly familiar with. That I don't feel like I'm blowing one's mind by saying like, oh yeah, I think the addition of the slot machine system is interesting and it adds just something else to do in what otherwise would be a very boring overworld. Yeah. That's cool, but not anything groundbreaking, analysis or anything.
Well, it's also cool the way that they have an overworld where like some levels are skippable.
Yeah.
So like you can take a different path. It's like, hey, I want to go to that item house, but if I want to go to that item house, I have to play through this level that I may not need to play if I want to try and get through it faster.
It is funny because the things that I would find interesting and engaging as a player are things that the speedrunners find super annoying.
Yeah.
Because I've watched a video on speedrunning of this game, and they're like, yeah, the things that move around the overworld, fuck that shit. That shit's stupid.
Because it adds, like...
Right. They don't want to hit it, and it adds time when they do, yeah.
Because the game shuts down while stuff in the overworld is moving.
Which is funny. But yeah, so for me, this, to go ahead and rank it, because I don't really have that much to say about it.
Well, I guess before you do that, I'm more curious. But you know what? Never mind. Let me see where it falls in your ranking, and then I'll ask the questions.
Yeah, so this one's going to come in, for me, it's so funny. I laughed earlier before we started the recording, and I saw you kind of give me a little bit of a questioning look as to why I laughed out of nowhere. Because it comes right next to the entry we just added. This comes in right above Battletoads and right underneath of Mort the Chicken for me. Mort the Chicken, I think, has...
So you're saying you would rather play Mort the Chicken than Mario Brothers 3?
Yes.
Okay.
I was almost tempted to put it underneath of Battletoads, but I will be honest with you, as I often am, and often say... Battletoads, we were talking about, has that difficulty, especially the turbo level, where it's like, you need to start just memorizing shit. I never quite had that feeling with Mario Bros. 3, and mind you, I did play a little less of it than I did of Battletoads, but when I had to fuck up Mario Bros. 3, it was just me being like, oh, okay, I know what I kind of did there, that was just sloppy on my part.
Yeah.
You know, whereas with Battletoads, I never felt like the reason I was dying was just because I was sloppy. I thought the reason I was dying was like, oh, I need to memorize and figure out a very specific pattern to optimize this run, if that makes sense. It's a little bit of a different feel. You know, it seems a little more approachable. In this case, in my opinion, Super Mario Bros. 3 seems much more approachable than Battletoads does, and I think that makes it a slightly better experience I'd be more willing to go back to, and do actually want to revisit. I do actually want to see where this game goes, so that's where it's going to land for me.
Okay. Not a problem. This is getting real messy over here on this computer screen.
You better believe it, baby. Messy is what we do best.
I'm putting it... Because I think it's a better game than Flintstones at Dinosaur Peak.
Okay.
I would rather play it than that.
I agree. Flintstone's still at the bottom of my list.
Which is funny. I definitely would rather play it than Agent Under Fire.
Okay.
Agent Under Fire, as I'm looking at it, as I'm thinking about it, I think shines more as a multiplayer experience than it does a single-player experience.
Which is funny, because I disagree entirely. I do enjoy the multiplayer in that game, but I think the single-player, for me, has such a nostalgic tinge to it.
Sure.
That, like, for me to go back to it, I would just be flooded with fucking dopamine. Like, oh my god, I remember this from when I was a kid. Oh my god, it's so cool. Does anyone remember the past? That's me when I play that game.
Yeah. But it's like, the reason I bring that up is I think as a complete package, I think it's a little lopsided.
Oh, I can agree with that.
Red Dead Revolver, I think, is... I definitely think the multiplayer is more fun in Revolver than in Under Fire, and I think the single-player game is better as well. So I think it's more of a complete package. The question... Dark Watch is lopsided as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, Dark Watch...
So sometimes you have lopsidedness in the form of, like, a Picasso painting, where it's like, yeah, it's lopsided, but it's beautiful. And then you have just wherever the fuck Dark Watch is, where, like, you're not sure if they were operating with the same paintbrush for the entire thing, to keep the analogy going a little longer than it should.
Yeah, no, and the reason I bring all of this up is mostly to work through it out loud, what I'm thinking in my head, and why I'm trying to add weight to certain qualifications.
It is very interesting how you and I approach it very differently in that regard, where I tend to look at it, kind of make an opinion, and then reinforce my own opinion by talking.
To justify it,
right?
Where, like, I'm trying to...
where you're actually working through, try to find if you have a differing thought for your opinion.
Because I don't like it better than Battletoads.
Which is funny, because dude, I'll be honest with you, it just so much barely edged out Battletoads. I really was going to put it below Battletoads. But then I thought about, like I said, the approachability of it and the mindset of it, and I'm like, this seems like a more rewarding game, and the fact that I'd be able to make progress without having to dedicate as much time as I would.
See,
have
that's
to
the thing.
Battletoads.
Like with Battletoads specifically, I felt a sense of accomplishment beating Battletoads, where with Mario 3, it just... going through the motions, so to speak. Like, it's a very good game. Like, I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm literally trying to be like, so I've beaten Mario 3 before. Not on an NES, though. I think it would have been the Game Boy Advance version, or I've beaten some version of 3 before.
Okay.
And I didn't walk away from it being like, I fucking did it. The way I did with Battletoads. Right?
Interesting. You're saying you had less investment in it because...
It's less of a sense of accomplishment because it's an easier game.
That's funny that you're phrasing it that way. So literally, we agree on the standard, but we disagree on what we prioritize within that standard.
It's a much tighter controlling game than Battletoads. I'm not gonna take that away from it.
I did get that sense, but I didn't want to say that without having played more of both of them, to be honest.
Right. It's definitely in the top third of my list. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to throw it. I would rather play it than Dark Watch.
I like how this list is turning into like a would you rather drinking game, basically. Would you rather or would I rather? Dan Rathers?
Ugh, no one would rather that. Fucking, I'm leaning behind Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So in between Dark Watch and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, whatever number that comes out to be. I think it's my number 4 right now.
Okay.
And I feel good about that.
Okay.
Let me do my clicky clackies here.
Not to sound like a broken record, but this once again will be a game that you and I will either revisit personally or maybe more on the channel. Because I do actually want to see more of where this game goes. This one actually handling tighter and feeling much more responsive than the first game is one that I wouldn't mind going back to and exploring a little more to get a better sense of it.
So, I'm going to make you play another Mario platformer. Because I'm going to give you a sense of progression. I kind of want you to figure out which one you'd prefer and then do a full playthrough.
You'll give me a little nip?
Little nip.
A little nip of Nas?
No. Oh, that works. Oh, I hate that.
What, nip of Nas?
Nope. We are not. Nope.
Come on, give me a little nip.
Ugh. Anyway.
Don't make that nip slip.
Do I have to mute the microphone?
I'm proud of myself. I don't care what you say at this point.
No. I think with this list, where Super Mario Brothers 3 for me is my number 4, Mort the Chicken is my new...
Do you really want to do
whatever number that
Yeah, so do you really want to do the math on that right now?
Because I'm literally just like penciling in between an old list that's already numbered.
Yeah.
Yeah, with you having... Really, Mort and Mario 3 coming in neck and neck in between Barbie and Battletoads. I think you rather playing Mort the Chicken over Mario Brothers 3 is a take I was not expecting you to have.
And what can I say, man? I live to keep you in suspense.
Very well. Well, that's the new list, guys. Thank God we're still recording. I was a little afraid when I pulled up another window, Audacity wouldn't like that.
Just stopped like 20 minutes ago. We got get back and do it again.
Yeah.
When was the first time?
Yeah, so I don't know. We're probably going to do one game per week for the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because that's going to be the weekend that you come up, and it's Cindy's birthday, so you'll be here less time.
I got to work some Saturday shifts, unfortunately, cleaning up a Family Dollar distribution center.
Yeah. So I'll find a way to fill out more time with like live streams or something like that. I don't really want to commit too much to anything at the moment.
I said an idea. Podcast name idea. No accounting for taste. Put that some like a back pocket somewhere.
NAFTA? Really? That's what you want?
You want to make an acronym out of it? What, we NASA?
No, we're NAFTA. Everyone's favorite government organization or program. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what you're going for exactly, but
no. Next game we're gonna play that I pick is gonna be Super Mario World.
He has his own world? Wait, he has a world and a land? Is Mario like a monarch? Do we need to overthrow him?
He's been doing a little colonization.
He's in... I was trying to make a plumber joke, and I realized that didn't really make sense, but I just called him a monarch. He's a blue-collar monarch. Mario, a king of the people.
But yeah, I won't hold you to whatever you want to play. I'll give you time to think about it.
Yeah.
But
I appreciate that.
I definitely want to play Mario World. Then we'll go for Mario World. What was the next game after that? I don't think we had another 2D Mario or on a home console because you had New Super Mario Brothers on the DS.
Okay.
Then New Super Mario Brothers Wii was a sequel to that. So that's the next home console 2D Mario that we got.
Is that the Wii U is the last 2D one then?
Wonder coming out will be the last one. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think so, unless I'm fucking missing something.
Which we usually do. Usually have to fix our mistakes in editing, I've noticed.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll do that. Totally.
I'm just saying, man, at some point we should just record ourselves saying a whole bunch of random lines so you can just splice in different words to fix our sentences.
We've been doing that for the last 5 minutes, just talking to talk. So I'm gonna cut this because I have to fucking edit it at some point. So
That's fair.
bye.